So what we have here is the Welder XTM201Di multi-process MIG welding machine. You can see we've got a main box including the machine, and then an accessory box which comes with a MIG torch, a MIG wire, and so on. So this machine, it's a lightweight multi-process machine. It'll take 5 kilos of wire. It'll operate from 110 or 240 volt input. On 240 volt input you can get 200 amps output. On 110 it's about 140 amps. You can see from the front of the box the machine has got a really good digital user interface with an LCD screen. The screen is backlit so you can see it outside, so if you're operating on site you can easily see it. All the processes in the machine, MIG, TIG and stick, all are driven through this user interface, so it makes it very easy and quick to set the machine. So you can see the front of the machine here. We've got a daylight visible LCD display and a few ruggedized knobs for the adjustment. You drive this machine through the LCD display through a series of selections, and it allows you to rapidly set the machine for a given thickness of material. The machine will preset itself with the right parameters to get you welding, get you going very, very fast. You can see here an example of some of the screens in the menu. You've got the main process selection, MIG synergic, manual MIG, TIG welding. That's with a trigger, so there's a gas valve in the machines to control the gas on and off. MMA, and there's a help menu that gives you some information on spare parts, and also allows you to change the language. So there's 6 languages preloaded in the machine, so hopefully you can select one that suits you. So we've got the XTM201Di out of the box now. This is the machine only, so I've got the power source here, electrode holder, work return lead and gas hose. What we're going to do is take a closer look at the functions and accessories that come with the basic machine. So looking at the front panel now, you've got positive and negative connections for the work return leads, a Euro connector which is dual purpose. It takes a MIG torch or a TIG torch. And then on the upper panel, the main control panel, you've got 4 knobs here. Most of the work is done with this large rotary knob, which is a rotate and select knob. And then we have some additional functions on the side. And you'll see the LCD display in the center here, which basically gives you all the information about what the machine's doing, the settings you've put into it. This is protected by a polycarbonate cover lens, so if you do happen to get a lot of spatter on it or damage it, you can replace that without risking damaging the actual screen that sits behind it. So we'll switch the machine on. And you can see you get a boot up screen initially, and then it will drop into a main menu here. So around the menu there, you've got a range of functions, and you can see by rotating this selector knob, you can select the required function you need. Once you've got it highlighted, you press in, and that drives you down into the next menu. You'll see here we've got selections for languages and spares. So if we have a look at the language, again, single press, takes us into a language selection, a range of languages there. So I'm going to select English, takes me back out of there. We'll also just have a quick look at the spare parts option. So we're going to spares. We've got the option of machine or torch. If we say machine, lists our feed roll options. If I give this a long press and hold it, it'll take me one step back. I can go into one of the other options. I've selected the same one again there, so long press back. Here we've got the torches, spurs for the MIG torch. I can toggle around any of those. Gives me the part numbers. Long press takes me one step back. So I can now have a look at, for example, contact tips and so on. So, and if we make a single press now, if you're down to the bottom of a menu tree, single press will take you back to the home menu. So that's the sort of the help function. And then around the front here, we've got a range of processes. MIG synergic, so that's a very quick and easy way of setting it up for MIG welding. MIG manual setup, TIG welding, and MMA. So if we select any of these processes, there's a very intuitive and simple user interface. So we're going to MMA. It tells you how to connect the torch, the electrode holder, and to the machine. So you can check that. It asks you what type of electrode you're going to weld with, what diameter you're going to use, and then finally what thickness of material you want to weld with. So we'll say 4mm there, and then the machine will now preset the welding amperage and give you a rundown here of the parameters you've selected. So it's ready to weld and set up exactly how you should need it. If you want to increase or decrease the amperage, you can then use some of the additional side buttons here to adjust the parameters. I'll go back to the main menu. I've got a similar sort of selection process for both TIG and MIG. So if I go into MIG now, what material do I want to weld with? I've got, it says steel. It advises me where to connect everything on the machine, what gas type I want to use, what wire diameter I'm going to select, 2T or 4T, so that's a momentary or latching trigger mode. We'll use momentary there. And then again, what thickness I'm going to weld with. So I'm going to go with 2mm thick steel here. It takes me into the welding screen. So I've got a resume of all the parameters I've selected here, and then on the two displays I've got the preset wire speed and the preset welding voltage. With those parameters I should be able to weld 2mm steel, no problem, straight out the box. If, for example, I'm welding vertically up or overhead and I want to trim those parameters, I can use the side knobs here and trim the parameters up or down as required. You'll notice there's a green indicator mark here. If I trim them too far in any one direction, this display turns red, indicating that I've gone into an area that basically these will produce an unstable weld. So any trimming I do, I should try and keep it within the green zone, so it's in a sort of a stable set of parameters. So that's a brief overview of the functionality of the machine. You can see how quick it is to set